Good afternoon. Welcome to the Taking Care of Business session. My name is Scott Meyer. I'm an Assistant Director in our Financial Aid Office here at the University of St. Thomas. To my right, Bill Peterson from the Business Office, Steve Griffin from Campus Stores. They'll be coming up here in just a couple minutes and talking to you respectively about a couple of areas of interest from their areas. We've got just a few housekeeping items that we want to talk about this afternoon from a financial aid perspective. The very first thing that we just want to touch on quickly is PROXY ACCESS. Your son and daughter's financial aid information, along with actually all of their academic information here at the university, is protected by a federal law, the Family Education Right to Privacy Act, or FERPA, passed back in 1974. Protects all of their, basically all of their information. So it's a little different than high school, where you can kind of call up and go, hey, how's my son or daughter doing? Here at the university, or at any university, once your students are enrolled here, which is when classes start on the Wednesday after Labor Day, all of their information is essentially protected. And what that means is that when you if you called into our office and your son or daughter has not designated you as a proxy to their information, in other words, they haven't given us permission to talk with you, there's not a whole lot we can talk about, and it turns into a very awkward conversation because I'm going to be going, I really appreciate that you're calling, and I'd really like to tell you the details of your son or daughter's financial aid, but unfortunately, they haven't set you up as a proxy. So this is a good time for you to have that conversation with your sons and daughters. Your son or daughters will log into Murphy Online, which is, of course, their portal to just about everything that happens here at the university. And in there is an option for them to set you up as proxy. They can set you up. They'll enter in your identifying information, and they will actually specify the specific topic areas that they want us to be able to talk with you about or talk with the proxy about. So this is a good time for you guys to get that all set up and work with them. This is really kind of between you and your son and daughters in terms of getting set up. So we highly encourage it. It makes things a lot easier for our office and for the other offices that are affected by the permissions that your son or daughters need to set up. Filing the FAFSA, just a quick one more plug. I know we've probably sent out 9 majillion plugs about this already, but if you haven't done the application, or if your son or daughters haven't done the application yet for the coming school year, it can still be done. FAFSA.ed, FAFSA.gov is the website you can go out to. It's a free application. If you're still considering maybe different financing options, remember that when your son or daughters complete the FAFSA, regardless of your family income or family resources, they will always be offered the opportunity to at least borrow from the federal direct loan program. Those are guaranteed loans, which means no one cosigns, there's no credit check. The amount they're allowed to borrow is limited, but at least it's a good place to start with those kinds of loans. But the FAFSA is a requirement in order to be able to borrow from those. So that's just one more reminder. In terms of other financing options, if you're considering using the Parent Plus loan program, this would be a good time to complete those applications. That is done on the studentloans.gov website. It's a pretty painless application. It'll probably take you the better part of about 5 to 7 minutes to complete. Again, we do have to have a FAFSA on file for your son or daughter in order for us to process that federal parent loan. Remember, the Plus loan is a loan that you are borrowing. It's not your son or daughter's loan, it's actually a loan you are taking out to help pay their expenses. So always want to make sure everyone understands that. And so, like I said, those get processed fairly quickly. The turnaround time on them is pretty short. If you're considering other private education loan programs, again, this is a good time to get those underway, those applications going. There's a plethora of different private loan options that are out in the marketplace. We have a sampling of those borrowing options on our website. You're not required to use those. You're certainly welcome to if you want, but you're not required to use any of those lenders. You can pick someone else. If you've got a good working relationship with a credit union or something like that, and you want to use that lender instead, go right ahead and knock yourself out. There's a lot of great options out there. We just have a short sampling of them. So private loans usually take about 3, sometimes upwards of 4 weeks to fully process. Not so much because it's a big blizzard of paperwork, but because there's some federal borrowing rules that purposely slow the process down to protect your son or daughter. So again, This is a good time to get those done so that those loan funds are in place for the start of the school year. Last thing I just want to touch on very quickly is that if your son or daughters are considering working on campus, this is a good time for them to be out looking at the open positions on our HR website. The university, we allow all of our undergraduate students, regardless of whether or not they qualify for a need-based work allowance, to be employed on campus as student employees. We're paying $9.86 an hour, which is the state's minimum wage. Your son or daughters have to apply and get the jobs. It's a little entrepreneurial that way. Lots of good options out there for them. So this is a good time for them to be looking for those jobs and applying for them if that's something that they're going to be doing. Your son or daughters will be given the option through the payroll office of having their earnings applied against their tuition bill or simply getting those earnings as a paycheck every 2 weeks, just like the rest of us get paid. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill, and he's going to speak with you about payment options.
Thank you, Scott. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Peterson. I'm with the business office. I'm just going to briefly go over how we do the billing here at St. Thomas, talk to you a little bit about our payment plan, setting up authorized users, and just a few other odds and ends as well. Now, first and foremost, how we communicate the bill. It's done electronically, so it's sent as an e-bill notification right around the 22nd or 23rd to the student's email address. So we don't have any paper bills going out in the mail. Now, we do understand parents are going to take a high responsibility and help finance tuition. So that is why it's really important that your son or daughter set you as an authorized user on their student account. Now, I know we touched briefly about PROXY, which is more view-only information to the St. Thomas site for overall for the university, whether that's looking at academics, their transcripts, financial aid information, et cetera. But to get the full access to the billing site, which is a separate site, they need to set you up as an authorized user. Now, how they're going to do that, they're just going to log into Murphy Online. That's one of their main portals as a student here, so that's where they go to add and drop classes and et cetera. So they'll be very familiar with that. One of the main options is e-bill and e-pay system. I'll click there, and it's going to take them to a screen. It looks just like this. On the right-hand side, you'll see authorized user. Basically, they just click that, add an email address, and submit. So it's really quick and simple for them to do. From there, you'll just get an email. You'll know once you're set as an authorized user because you'll get an email saying you're now set as an authorized user, and it will give you a temporary login from there. So you can log in, set up your own password, and then the parents will be logging in through an authorized user portal separate from Murphy. So then from there, obviously, each month you would get the e-bill notifications if there's a bill on the student account. Now, students are automatically enrolled into a semester-long payment plan. As you can see there for fall semester, it's fall, for September through December. Due dates are always the 19th of each month. In spring, it's February through May. Now, by highlighting this, first of all, we bill on a per semester basis. So they're just gonna register here today for their fall semester classes. Then come November, mid-November to late November, early December, they're gonna be logging in, or they'll be logging in and registering for spring semester at that time. So we only bill on a per semester basis. Now, do families need to follow this plan verbatim? Not necessarily. Now, if you have the ability to pay the balance in full and you just want to be done with it, maybe you have a 529 college savings plan or you have a loan already lined up and you want to just take care of it and be done with it. By all means, that's fine. However, we do see families that like to utilize the payment plan and spread it out over the course of the term. If you choose to do that, there's a finance charge assessed monthly of 1.1%. Now, this is not a late charge by any means. It's basically the cost for extending the credit as we're allowing you to pay it over a 4-month time frame. So just keep that in mind there. Now, J-term, as you see up there, that's just an optional term. That's a winter break. And some students stay on campus and can take a class then. If they do that, that's billed out at the end of December with the due in full in January. And then summer is also an option as well for students to take classes. And that's billed out. I don't have it up here, but that's a 3-month payment plan of June through August, always the 19th of each month. So. Now, when the bill is generated, about a month from now, the e-bill notification will go out. You can log in online, and under My Account, click on Statements, and you'll get a statement that looks very much like this. It's going to show all payment, current payments, so that's all tuition and fees, room and board billed out. Right below that, you have current payments. That's any UST award, scholarship, any grants that they may have, those are already going to show posted to the account by then. Now, what you're not going to see, as you see on the bottom there, is pending financial aid. If they have a federal subsidized or unsubsidized loan that they plan to use, those are going to be pending. If you have maybe a Parent Plus loan or a private loan, it's the same thing there. It's always going to show pending. Big reason for that is the students' first 2 weeks of classes, their add drop period, so they're adjusting their schedule. So once they are locked into the class schedule, then those loans disperse. It's always dispersed by the due date, so it's right around September 17th, 18th for that matter. So you'll see it on there. So you can easily subtract the amount off there and then pay the difference that's due. Otherwise, if you do not show it as pending, you don't need to be alarmed, but I would suggest at least calling financial aid so they can look into that. Now, in some cases, there just may have been some additional requirements that your son or daughter hadn't quite been completed yet for these loans. As an example, the federal subsidized and unsubsidized loans, they have to accept these awards. So if it hadn't been accepted by then, when this was generated, it wouldn't show as pending. So just keep that in mind. Anytime we owe a credit balance back to you, or for that matter, a student, we'd like them to set up an e-refund profile on their student account. It's done through the billing portal there for the e-billing, e-pay system. There's a little option that says e-refund. They can set up a checking or savings account from there, and anytime there's a credit balance, we just electronically deposit those funds back into that account. Now, only the students have the option of setting this up through their Murphy portal. The parent, it's not an option through the authorized user portal, but we understand as parents, if you're paying the bill and you want the money coming back to you, just work with your son or daughter and which account you'd like set up on there. We can hold any credit balance on file as well. So if you want to hold on to it till the next semester, we can do that. There's a keep credit authorization form that just needs to be filled out by the student and submitted to our office. It's available on our business office website. At the end of each academic year, though, we do issue refunds for any credit balance on the account because it's fiscal year end at that time. So we like to basically e-refund anything out at that time frame. An example of how this could happen, you could easily, between financial aid and maybe a loan, maybe you had more than enough to cover the cost of the charges for tuition, and in which that would create a credit balance. So that's an example of how that could happen there. So if the payment is missed on the 19th of September and we generate the bill a few days later, then that would put the account in a past due status, and it puts a hold on their registration and viewing and accessing their official transcripts. It's just a matter of missing the payment. You can easily log in online and make a payment. That's creating that hold. Our system updates nightly, so that hold would be released. Making payments online, you can do electronic check with a routing number, account number. That's free of charge. All major credit cards are accepted, but there is a fee associated with that of 2.85%. So it's not the most cost-effective option for you of doing that. But like I said, if you just make a payment, our system updates nightly and the hold is released. If you do run into any issues, unexpected medical bill, or just a short-term cash flow problem, please give us a call so we can look into it and try to help you out. Maybe we can extend the payment plan just a little further. Maybe financial aid might be able to look and see if there's any additional funding to help bridge the gap there. But as a reminder, like I said, we just bill on a per-term basis, so we can't extend the payment plan out beyond much beyond the semester, as we're billing for the new term shortly after that. So we'd like to have credit balances cleared up by then, or balances on the account cleared up by then. Last thing I'm going to talk about here briefly, and this may have been brought up this afternoon at some point, is a tuition refund program that is basically administered by AWG Dewar. It's a private tuition insurance plan, and which is basically an event of any medical withdrawal only, in which a student would have to withdraw from all courses for that term. The coverage on that is 70% reimbursement of tuition and fees. There's also an option of tuition and fees, room and board. So you can see the cost is $180 per semester and $44 for J term. Completely optional for families, so you don't necessarily need to do this, but I would suggest at least taking the next week and just consider this option. It's a nice umbrella to have in case something were to happen. Our sons and daughters are in a new environment. They're going to be on their own. There's much more stressors involved in higher education rather than high school. You guys just never know if there's an accident or came down with pneumonia and had to withdraw from the course for the semester. This is a nice umbrella to have to recover some of those costs. Now, if it's just a matter of the student needing to drop the class because it just wasn't working out, now the first 2 weeks of class is that add drop period, and they would get the full refund on that. After that time frame, it's 80%, then 60%, and so forth. So the further they get through the semester and they just drop the class because it isn't working out, they only would receive a portion of that back or none of it. So we strictly adhere to that, and it doesn't fall under this umbrella. This is just a medical withdrawal only in which you'd have to withdraw for the course of the semester. But just as that suggests to consider that as an option. With that, I'm going to leave you with Steve Griffin from Campus Stores.
Thank you, Bill. Like Bill said, my name is Steve Griffin. I'm the Director of Campus Stores and Campus Mail. I'm here to talk a little bit about getting your course materials and do a little explanations. Today your students will get their course lists after they register for their courses. You can go to that course list and go to our website, and you'll be able to put in the classes, and it'll list all the materials they need. We have many different formats we use here on St. Thomas to hopefully keep the prices down and make it more to whatever every student's learning ability is. Of course, the new and used books, they're out there. We know all those. But rental I want to talk about. Most of our books are rentable. About 65, 70% of them you can rent. Most students do rent if it's available. Our renting savings can be from 10 to 90%. It's quite a large gap that we have there because we have many different contracts with different publishers. One thing about rentals that we do is you're able to use the book, and that's something different than a lot of other places do. You can write in it, you can dog ear it, you can actually use the book what it's meant for, and then you just turn it into us. As long as that book isn't water damaged or the cover ripped off it or any other thing that we do, we can't sell it again, we pretty much take it back. We give students a lot of emails at the end of the semesters to get those books back. That's probably our biggest struggle. We get about 9 emails to the students at the end of the semester. We also, for the parent newsletter, we put our due dates in there also, so hopefully you can remind your students to get us those books back, because it is expensive if you don't turn them back into us. The other thing is too, for the rentals, is we make it easy because you just bring them back to the campus store. We make it easy to buy them and also make it easy to return to them. The other thing up there too is Digital Direct. It's become more and more popular in campuses, and we've had it for a couple of years here. This is a format that the professors select for their class. They basically put together the course materials. It can be a book. It can be a book plus homework assignments, book plus study aids. Lots of different things professors can do to make the class easier, but also give different things for your students to do well in those classes. Digital Direct books are delivered by Canvas. What Canvas is, your students are going to learn really fast, is their learning management tool. And they're delivered on the first day of classes, and they're billed 2 weeks later. Why 2 weeks later? Because A, they get add drop classes during that time period. They can use it and look at it. If they don't want it, they can opt out of it because we don't make any students buy books. But I will say that Digital Direct typically is the lowest price that course material will be available to use, and the professors do put it together. So when your son or daughter come look at that one there too, it's a very nice option for students to use for classes. When you selected your books and you're ready to buy them there, we have 3 different options you can get them. You can get them sent to you for FedEx, or you can do reservation. I recommend reservation because what we do is you place that order, we put the books together, we put it in a box for them, we email the students, say the book is ready, and the students can come pick up their books and they can leave. They don't have to walk through the stacks of books. They don't have to wait in the lines. I mean, it's much easier for them, especially when they're moving in and everything else is going on. It's a great way to get their material that they need. Right now, if you order that book or put your order in before August 3rd, we're going to waive the reservation fee also. A lot of prices right now are going up and down. I mean, the next few weeks, the prices move quite a bit. So if you did place your order today, you would get the lower price if the price of those books went down the next few weeks, those things. So, or also, too, you obviously come into the campus store and you can buy books. I hire a lot of students, so the students are really good about telling your student if that professor needs that book or not, and they can really help out. They're really good about helping, especially the freshmen out to get acclimated to the campus. So one of the things we do at the campus store is we have campus mail services there. If you're going to send your son or daughter a package, a letter, whatever, to the university, you send it to us, and then when we get that item, it'll be logged in. They'll get an email saying they have something to pick up down at the campus store. They come in, present their ID, they sign for it. It makes it really simple for them to do that too. So they're not always having to check a mailbox anymore. We'll tell them when they have something. We also have lots of our mailing supplies that they can do. Mailing supplies, stamps, FedEx drop-off, United States Postal Service drop-off, all those kind of things to make it, again, easier too. Other services that we do offer to the for the campus store is that we do offer computers. I do have some spread or sheets up here that tells you prices, tell you what's in the computers. I also have some other things here too to pick up. But we offer computers for the people, for students on campus here. We also have calculator rentals. We've got that a couple years ago. We had students ask us, they hate to buy a $200 calculator for one class. Well, they can rent it so they can save some money there. Bed Bath & Beyond, you can buy things there, especially if you're out of town. You can have it shipped to us. We'll have it hold for you. When you come back in, move your student in, it's ready to go for you. Fix It is a service that is offered to fix computers or your cell phones. They come to campus and do that. And then, of course, technology trade-in we have. And the final slide here is we're giving away a free semester of books. And we make it easy for you to do that one. If you go to our Facebook page, at the very top, you'll see the contest. You can click on that, or you can go to any of our social media sites. And I have them all listed up here. And you go there, and you can just put in today's date. Your student can hopefully get registered to win a free semester of books that will be drawing after the orientations are all completed. So with that, we still have some time here. So if you have other questions that we weren't able to answer for you, we are available for questions. Yes?
What type of computer do you guys recommend? PC or Mac?
Either one. We have students that use whatever they're comfortable with. Our IT guys can make it all work like they're supposed to, and it works really well. So I know students that use either one, no problems at all. Yes?
I have a question about the tuition refund. Do you sign up for that is that per semester, or is that like, it's just for like the whole entire time, you just do it individually per semester?
Yeah, for the question for signing up for the tuition refund program, yes, you can. You would sign up on a per semester basis. I'm not sure if there's the option for just the entire year to do that. So I know for sure it's on per semester basis you can do that. So, and you just have to do that by the start of the term. Any other questions? Oh, is that good? No. So Campus Stores does have some information up here if you're interested, like you mentioned in regards to computers. I have some information from Business Office, just kind of a checklist or as a reminder of payment plan, authorized users, et cetera. So if you want to pick up any of that and take that home, you may. Otherwise, thanks for stopping in this afternoon. I hope you have a good day.